Okay, well, that was a lot of excitement. It's always a lot of excitement with Mr. Mark, let me tell you. So, we're going to try to calm it down a little bit, and we are going to do our Bible story today. Today's Bible story is all about how God provides. He always provides for us. He tells us in the Bible to pray, give us our daily bread, because every single day He's going to provide for us. And that's what our story is about. We don't have to worry because He's in control of that. Well, in this story, there was a man who wanted to go and get some rest. Why was he tired? He was tired because he was always out helping people and doing all these incredible things, and people always wanted to be with him. Now, I know when I'm tired, I don't want to be with people all the time. I love being with people, but sometimes I just want to get rest. But you know what? People never seem to bother this man. Well, as you can imagine, this man was walking along trying to go find a place to rest, and the crowds heard that he was on his way. And so, guess what they did? They came to where he was, they followed him. Now, why do you think they were following him? Let's see. They were hearing about some incredible things that this man was doing. One of the things was people were sick, and he was healing them miraculously. They would just be healed. There was a time that there was a big storm out on the sea, and the storms and the rain clouds and the waves were raging, but he made it calm just by his words, and people started to hear about that. And another thing he did was there was a man who was known to be blind, which means you can't see, and he would walk around and he was unable to see for his whole life, and all of a sudden he met Jesus, and Jesus made him see. So you can imagine, people were hearing about these incredible things that Jesus were doing, and so they wanted to come, and they wanted to hear him teach, which is what they did, exactly what they did. Well, he was out teaching, and when they heard he was there, they left what they were doing. They didn't pack anything, they didn't bring anything with them. They ran so they could hear Jesus speak. And they skipped breakfast. They went right through breakfast. And then he kept teaching, and they went right through lunch. Well, he kept teaching, and it was starting to approach dinner time. Now, I think that I would start to be getting a little bit cranky. Does anyone get cranky when they get hungry? Anyone? Hangry? I know that I can get really cranky, and I'm guessing that maybe some of those people in the crowds were starting to think about food, and maybe starting to get a little bit cranky too. Now, when you guys are hungry, what does your tummy start to do? It starts to talk to you, right? It's telling you, mine grumbles a little bit like this. Does yours sound like that? Let me see. Is there anyone out there that has silly sounds for their tummy? Jackson, does yours make a silly noise? Or Haley? What does yours sound like? Okay, I want to hear what everybody else's tummies sound like. Okay, on the count of 3, let's all make our tummies grumble. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, well, that's probably what it sounded like, but even louder with all of these people who are thinking about food and have empty tummies. Their tummies are starting to grumble. Well, one of the disciples went up to Jesus. A disciple is a friend or a close follower of Jesus. And they said, "Teacher, these people are hungry. We should probably send them home." But home was pretty far away. And so Jesus said, "Good job thinking about them, but why don't you give them something to eat?" Well, this shocked the disciples because there was tons of people. I don't know if I told you this, but there was 5,000 men plus women and children. So there were thousands of people there without food. Now, would that be easy to feed them? It wasn't. It would have cost like half a year's wages for them to feed all of these people. So they didn't know what to do. But a little boy overheard, and he said, Jesus, I'll help. I brought some bread and some fish. And so he brought his 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish over to Jesus in a basket. Do you know what Jesus did? Did he laugh in his face and say, "Ha, that won't feed everybody"? Nope. His disciples were a little bit confused, and they looked at all the thousands of people and said, "How on earth can we feed everybody with that little bit of food?" But Jesus did something amazing, because he's amazing. He held up the bread. Oops, that's not bread. He held up the bread and he prayed to God and he said, "Thank you for this bread." And he told his disciples to bring some baskets. And he said, "Hand these out." And as they started to hand them out, the disciples realized there was more than 5 loaves of bread. There was more than 2 fish. They kept handing them out, and everybody got so much food. Their tummies were full, and by the end, there was still leftovers and baskets full left of food and fish. Thousands of people were fed by 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish because Jesus is incredible and was able to do an incredible miracle. You know what this tells me about Jesus? This tells me that we don't have to worry because he has everything in control. There's nothing that goes by him that is unnoticed by God. He knows every little thing. In the Bible, in another place, it says, "Look at the birds." I want you guys to look out your window right now and see if you can see a bird. If you look at those birds, you notice that they're back every single day because God provides for them. He gives them food every single day and they don't worry about it. And he says, "How much more do I love you? And I'm going to provide for you."